All right, y'all. So I'm glad to see that Lil Nas X has been able to give us a little update. He hasn't said a whole lot more than what we already know, right? But he said that he experienced a terrifying last couple of days, but that, and I quote, your girl is going to be all right. So I'm glad to hear he's at least in like good spirits because the charges that he's facing seem intense and extreme. I'm definitely not for calling cops on people, especially black people that are clearly in crisis or having an episode or whatever you want to call it, whatever it is. Especially when that person is just walking down the street. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think we as a community, and we are doing it. There are people who are on the ground and activists like actively doing it, of course. But I think we should like continue to take seriously considerations about like alternatives to just like you see something happening, you see somebody in crisis. A lot of times when people listen to their knee-jerk reaction to just call the cops, it ends in tragedy, that doesn't have to happen, right? And in this case, I think it ended in charges that I think are crazy, especially if he wasn't out there with a weapon slicing y'all up or worse, right? And the pats on the back y'all giving people. I've seen y'all give people. I do wonder if it was Benson Boone or Harry Styles or one of these people walking down the street in their boots and underwear and like how, how differently this would have gone. Let's talk about it.
Y'all know who I am. Y'all know who I am. Adrian, I be in the cut. I sizzle with your man. Don't be mad at me because he recognized the brand.
Way back in 2018, I put out the first book in my Xeraxia series. I'm so excited to let you all know that the sequel to that book, Xeraxia, The Vengeance of Cold Wind, is out now. Anywhere you get your ebooks and audiobooks, you can find it there. I'm talking about Amazon, Audible, audiobooks.com, Google Play. Like, it's all there. Also, you can go to www.xeraxia.com to purchase it directly from my site. Check out my series, check out the first book, and make sure you get the second book because it's out now. I'm so excited.
All right, so we have a couple articles here to orient us. Variety and what else? I think Entertainment Weekly. All right, so this one is Variety. Of course, Lil Nas X has spoken out. He pleaded not guilty to 4 felony charges and posted $75,000 bail. So, of course, when he was released, he took to Instagram to address his arrest. When the police, of course, we know what happened. He said, your girl's going to be okay, y'all. She's going to be all right. He said that was effing terrifying. Just watch it.
Your girl is going to be okay, y'all. Okay? She's gonna be alright. She's gonna be alright. That was terrifying. That was terrifying. That was a terrifying last 4 days. But your girl is gonna be alright.
And so clearly you can see that I'm just seeing what I'm seeing, honey. Like, clearly he is shaking. Clearly he's like, all right. I mean, who wouldn't be? So clearly he's shaking, but it seems, just from what we're looking at, it seems like he's like, I'm still, all right, y'all. Like, I'm going to be good. We going to fight this, whatever. So Lil Nas X was charged yesterday with 3 counts. And of course, this is the article. He was charged whenever he was charged. But he was charged with 3 counts of battery against a police officer and 1 count of resisting an executive officer. And these it's so interesting because I thought he was going to get charged with like public indecency or like inebriation or whatever. And they coming out here with assault an officer and executive officer. I'm like, all right. He was arrested on Thursday and held at this jail over the weekend, and then they took him in for processing Monday morning. He pleaded not guilty, and bail was set at $75,000. The case will move to pretrial on September 15th, and he faces up to 5 years in prison if convicted. TMZ was the first to release this footage of Lil Nas X, as we know. Later, they put out an additional video showing him fully nude, rapping the lyrics to Nicki Minaj's verse from Monster. I was like, wait, they got another video. I was like, wait, who recording? Who is recording? Like, what? LAPD had responded to calls and complaints. We know all this. But here's where, listen to this.
Attacking police officers is more than just a crime against those individuals, but a direct threat to public safety. And this is coming from L.A. County District Attorney Nathan Hodgman or whatever in a statement. Anyone who assaults law enforcement will face serious consequences, no matter who they are or how famous they may be. And it's like, oh, girl, here we go. Here we go. It's really insane how, listen to me, girl, because I'm about to go off. I think that it is really insane how our tax dollars, okay, are used to lie to us. They're used to get these departments to murder us and lie about doing it. They're used, I mean, do you see what I'm saying? They be planting false evidence, investigating themselves for wrongdoing just to find nothing. Like, it's really crazy how our money is being used to screw us. Meanwhile, someone who is clearly having some kind of episode or crisis or whatever you want to, whatever, we're drawing all kind of conclusions, drugs, like a person who's clearly having whatever kind of episode. And then you're like, oh, we got to make that's what it seems like. We're going to make an example out of him. I'm just like, I'm not going to pull up if I was someone who was called in, right, with the understanding that someone is having some kind of crisis, an episode. They're like, I'm not going to pull up to the scene and be gagged or be shocked when I get shoved or if I get smacked. You see what I'm saying? Like, if this person is clearly not in their right mind or there's something going on, if I work in public safety and I actually care about people, I'm not going to pull up to some place with an active episode happening and be gagged if I get shoved or something. And I haven't seen what the full tea is, but it's insane. That's why I'm like, y'all, we need to just continue to find ways to handle stuff ourselves. I know this case is unique because he's a celebrity and, you know, we're all wondering about the community around him. But I just think that overall, like, not only as like the black community, but as a society that wants to survive through the next 10 years, my goodness, I think that we really have to continue thinking about alternatives to just knee-jerk call the cops. Like, especially if you're in community with someone who's having some kind of active episode, whatever it may be, intoxication, whether it may be episode, mental health episode, or someone just has a break, like whatever it may be, I think we do have to continually consider alternatives to just succumbing to this knee-jerk reaction of just, oh, something's a disturbance, call the cops, you know? And speaking of community, like I said, I really hope Lil Nas X has or can find one that, one that where this possibility is less likely, right? Because like, even if my sister was going on a trip in her favorite rocket ship, right? Like, I wanted sis to have things like trip sitters and stuff, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, even if she was partaking, I just want sis to be all right. Like, what's going on? I don't know. And so, yeah, I just think a lot of times this society makes problems worse by taking someone like a Lil Nas X, who was literally just walking down the street, bro, like walking down the street, putting on a show. I mean, wasn't driving nowhere, did not have no weapons as far, like, you see what I'm saying? It makes the problem worse when we take situations like this and then now, oh, they're facing prison time. Oh, now we're going to put them in a situation that's going to exacerbate the problem that they're dealing with in the first place. You see what I'm saying? Instead of this person now getting whatever type of therapy, whatever type of whatever, now it's prison that's on the table. That's why even when like that Jussie Smollett stuff was going on, I'm like, okay, yeah, even the facts look crazy, but do y'all understand what you're asking for this person to be locked in a box, for them to be in prison? Do you understand? Does the punishment that y'all are seeking fit the crime? And so this is what I'm talking about when we have people who may have issues with drugs, may have mental health issues, like so many of us do, girl. And then a moment happens, a break happens, and suddenly prison's on the table, prison's in their face. And now we're not solving the problem. We're not solving these issues. We're making them worse. And so to wrap it up, we can hear from Lil Nas X's lawyer. This is coming from Entertainment Weekly. The rapper's lawyer, Drew Findling, also spoke to reporters in a video captured by the outlet, I think TMZ, pointing to his client's professional accomplishments and that he's never stepped in a courthouse before. He said he wasn't sure yet if the incident had to do with any kind of substance, medical, or emotional issue. There's no way for us to know right now, he said. Just know that we're going to do our very best to address those issues. Anybody that has kids, you hear about things like this all the time. Finally continued. Don't forget he's 26 years old, so it's not unusual for something like this to happen, particularly when you have the pressure of being recognized internationally like him. So the lawyer asked that people don't judge somebody by the worst moment in their life. And so, yeah, I just think it's so funny because, like, girl, I've been to the club, girl. Like, I've been outside. I've stepped outside. I've watched you girls walk around the street fighting, walk around the street drunk, walk around the street screaming, walk around the street naked. I done seen y'all in y'all underwear. I done seen y'all. And so the same ones doing it, dragging Lil Nas X like this, or, you know what I mean? It's just very ironic. I seen how y'all throwing tables and chairs at the club, girl. Y'all be drunk out your minds. You know what I mean? And so for us to act, especially as queer people, act like we don't got trauma, and sometimes it be indescribable, like such dehumanizing kinds of trauma that I think people just kind of, especially if you're not queer, you just brush over. But it'd be deeply dehumanizing, embarrassing, hateful, like to your like trauma. Okay, and so we don't even address that issue. Then because of that trauma, some of us have substance issues. Like, girl, we all, like, come on now. If you've lived a life, if you've lived a life, you know. And so to be looking at Lil Nas X and he just walking down the street and now it's prison time, it does not, like, it doesn't give that that's solving an issue. It gives that it's making it worse. And this Lil Nas X, girl, like, ain't no tell. There's so many other people who have had a drug-induced whatever, had an emotional breakdown, had a mental health crisis, and now they're sitting in prison. Do you hear me? Instead of getting the help that they need. And they weren't famous to have the attention on them so we could, keep track of what's going on. It's insane. So we really gotta think about this just really deeply, especially when it comes to, like I've repeated before, just, adhering to this knee-jerk reaction to just call the cops when you see certain kinds of disturbances. Obviously, with it, there is a threshold where it's like, all right, we're going to need an ambulance, girl. Like, we're going to need something. Like, I understand that. But I do think we should definitely be as diligent as we can about analyzing each just case by case and just be like, do I really want a cop to be here right now in this moment? Just, I think we got to think about that. But yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. Love y'all so much. And make sure you have a good goddamn evening. And a hater, double dealing. Y'all know who I am. Y'all know who